Okay, hello and welcome to episode 6 of IP&O from home. We are, of course, coming to you live from my couch. We have a special guest, Alex Ruiz from REHS, and it's very rare that someone comes on the show that has a better beard than me. So this is a pretty special moment in IP&O from home history. Uh, so, Alex, we basically wanted to kind of know what is what's the role that REHS has been playing in this crisis with coronavirus? I'm sure you guys are, busy all day trying to handle it, but what kind of specifically has been your guys' role?
Sure. Our office has been involved with a lot of activities throughout the university. Um, Besides the meetings, which we'll go toward the end, because that's the least exciting part of it. Most of our staff are out there assisting our facilities, our stakeholders, our frontline medical staff, either with fit testing, coming up with procedures for disinfecting, for cleaning. We're responding to all sorts of concerns related to somebody who was sick before. Now they're worried about it. Well, how are they going to clean their location? So we work with our occupational health and our healthcare clinics to be able to assess, does it really need a lot of cleaning? So we're not utilizing our limited amount of resources on our IPO staff related to our custodians and also our mechanics if they have to fix certain things. So we're working with a lot of these different groups on helping establish what are critical areas for them to maintain. That way they can focus a lot of their or minimal resources that they have to those specific areas. We're also assisting our PD and emergency services on their protocols in the beginning. Right now, they're pretty much self-sustained, so they're pretty done pretty well. But we've been doing a lot of their fit testing for all of their first responders. We're also involved with dealing what type of PPE do we need, and this is throughout the whole university. So we have healthcare clinics that are short of PPE. They're right now reutilizing PPE, so we assist in those protocols and procedures and advice. What do we do for decontaminating N95s, which you've probably seen in the news or heard in the news? We're doing that also. So we're validating all those processes along with our BL3 facilities. And since we handle the health and safety for that, for the BL3s, we were included as helping with the design and also the actual decontamination process for validation. And that went well. Luckily, the PPE supplies have been able to catch up, and we haven't had to use it as much, but we have that ready and ready to go. We're also assisting with the shortages of PPE, so we're working with a lot of the makerspaces, School of Engineering, NORC makerspace, you name the space that has 3D printing or design capabilities. We have them under one umbrella now for the 3D PPE project. And that's actually what we're doing today. We're having a bunch of volunteers coming in and helping assemble everything that was produced during the week. So we should be able to have at least 300 to 500 of them built today. So over the past 3 or 4 weeks, we've had over 2,000 of them built. So we've been working on that. We've been working also with our frontline groups on being their health and safety advisors and also a resource for them. So we are part of pretty much a lot of their committees related to policies and also planning, so that we can look at what are the aspects of for protecting the worker, and we provide our guidance and advice through that. What's not seen in the news a lot is all our BSL2 and 3 facilities that are working on a COVID research. So we have a lot of research that are going on right now at this moment on diagnostics, potential discoveries for cures, for vaccinations. You name the process where we have research coming from all different directions and teaming up. So we are supporting the CCRP. I think that's the Center for COVID Research and Preparedness, and providing them guidance on the health and safety of all their different activities so they can prioritize their specific research and yielding all the partnerships throughout the university. We're also assisting ORID, the Office of Research and Economic Development, actually right down the hall from you guys downstairs, on helping them reopen their labs. Because right now, all the labs that were not critical were shut down during the whole university shutdown. Now we got to reopen them, and they want to prioritize who's coming in, what research they're doing, and they want to prioritize this by criticality. And we're in the process of trying to develop some short-term training, and this is why we're going to maybe talk about this later about how do we develop a training that has a video component so that way we can demonstrate how to properly take off a mask, put on a mask, how do we properly handle it, how do we put on gloves and take off gloves, what is the best approaches for social distance because they want to have a video component to assist the researchers. We helped assist School of Dental Medicine prepare one of their areas for potential surge for the University Hospital. We did that within a week. We went in there, we had designed, spec'd out, and had installed ventilation systems to be able to meet that capacity. They did use it for about a week or two, and then obviously, since this is slowed down, we're rolling that out. There's probably hundreds of other different activities that we've been involved with on a daily basis, but the fit testing has been one of the things that's been real hard because every single time the they run out of a product, they buy new N95s, we have to fit test each individual clinician to that N95 because you have to fit test for the make, model, and size. So our staff has been all over the state, from Newark, for people working in the University Hospital, for our own clinics, and even to the nurses and healthcare providers working in the prison system because we provide the healthcare for all the state prisons in the state. So it's been interesting, even down to assisting with commencement activities. As everything is new and everything else, they want us to help with the plannings and what we need to do to help perform that safely. So the good thing is for our office we've all been here. Everybody in our office has been coming to work. The bad news is that they're always comes to work. So it's really hard to find periods for rest for them because there's so many activities that are being asked for and they're being pulled in different directions. So right now, like Mark and myself are in a lot of the different meetings, so we can have our staff do the frontline stuff. I do go to the front lines every so often, but not as much as I wish I can, because obviously there's all these meetings for preparing and rolling up, and rolling the university back up. It goes down to how do we get students on campus? What do we do with the students? How do we populate offices? How do we maintain individuals safe by providing facial covers? And what are facial covers? Who's producing them? So we're trying to, all these little avenues, we're trying to work with different third party and outside organizations and companies to see if we can maximize the university's resources. I can go on for hours, but you let me know if you have questions, because there's probably a ton of stuff that I missed.
Well, I know that the nature of REHS is that it's it has to mobilize quickly to deal with a lot of different problems. What I was wondering was, do you have sort of a methodology for prioritizing these things at this point? I know you mentioned the frontline workers and the obviously bringing the students back to school is a big issue. Is there sort of a master prioritization organization that you guys have put together so far?
So it depends on what situation, what population. So for the prioritization, we leave that up to university leadership. So we're plugged into all the working groups in the university COVID task force. And depending on the activities that they have, they may include us on specific things that would help them with guidance. Whatever the university is going to be utilizing as their priorities, our job is to support those priorities by ensuring that the health and safety is a value that's incorporated, and it is. In this case, everybody's worried about it. So that sell is not hard. I think the hardest part we're having right now is how do we manage perception, which I usually call perception management. The perception is sometimes 9/10 of the rule. Just because somebody doesn't have a mask on doesn't mean that they're sick. The question is, should they have a mask on or not? It all depends on what the activities you're doing. And it's a struggle where individuals are not getting the same consistent answer from the government, the media, and everybody's referencing different types of authorities, and they're not even consistent. So it becomes very hard on how do we provide competent information that is facts-based in a way that's going to have their perception that we are operating in a safe manner. Right. As you probably all know, everybody has a little bit of sense of what is risk. And And that is becoming a difficulty. How do you explain to somebody who is 65 that they know they're going to be in a high risk group compared to like John, who's in a lower risk group? But John could get just as sick as somebody who's 65. The severity may be different depending on your health, but how do we send out that message without alienating certain groups? And that's tough because everybody's worried. Everybody's, hears everything in the news, and there have been a lot of fatalities. Because then the big question that people ask is, well, how are we going to test everybody? Well, right now we don't have a good system for that. The government doesn't. So we're beholden on what the government is recommending and what they're setting up as guidelines. Because there is a lot of financial value to that. So whose responsibility is to test? We don't know yet. So that's a lot of the questions we get is that, well, if you're coming to work, then am I supposed to test you? Well, test you for what? Because if I test you today, tomorrow you may interact with somebody who's sick, and now you can have a potential for exposure.
Right.
So all these questions are they're all valid. I always treat everybody, even a question that I may think personally inside, that's a weird question. I usually try to figure out why are they asking this, because sometimes they're asking a question because they have there's another concern that they have, and if you get to the root of that concern, maybe you can solve a lot of or put the information out there to help answer that. But for every answer we have, there's going to be 2 or 3 questions that come out of it. So it's tough.
Yeah. So it sounds like you guys have taken a lot of this on and have figured out, how to implement some solutions here and there. But how would you say, having been through a few other natural disasters, before, how would you say the response has had to be different from something like, say, Superstorm Sandy or other natural disasters that have happened before this?
Good question. Because so Superstorm Sandy, I was here for that one. I was in the command post for that one. So that one's, even though it's been 8 years now, it's
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say that the difference is the prolongedness of this and how widespread it is. So, for example, with Sandy, once the storm came, there were downstream effects from the damages on localized areas. So certain areas got up to speed faster. If we just look at New Jersey, the shore were the longest, hardest hit and the longest to recover in certain areas. Where the rest of the state was able to get back and mobilize within a couple days. Certain areas, maybe it didn't have power, a week or 2. In this case, it's hitting everybody. And there's no part of the state that hasn't been impacted in one way or another, either by the restrictions on social distancing or the closing down of stores or things that you're commonly used to going to. So it's creating a lot of that anxiety and Sandy it was pretty localized and we knew what it was. We knew that the initial hazard is over.
Yeah.
Just having recovery. In this case, the duration of the event is right now 2 months.
Yeah.
And right now we're just talking about potential recovery, but we're not even at recovery yet. So it's a different event where more people are impacted one way or another from this event than compared to the storm, Superstorm Sandy.
Okay, great. So for the last part of the episode, we'll normally just talk about, something a little more light and not necessarily work related. So once quarantine is over and once everything is back to normal, so to say, what are you most looking forward to doing?
Taking a day off. No, literally, yeah. I have, which is, we all have a certain amount of days to carry over. I have to take 20 days. If not, I'm going to lose them. Because right now I haven't been able to take vacation at all this year. And I was going to take May and June, but this is not so. So yes, I'm looking forward to taking a day off without this. Because the amount of meetings and like I just got another one just got added to my calendar, so that's the way it's been going. And I'm hoping that once the quarantine is over, other people will be preoccupied doing other things.
Yeah.
And they're not willing to be wanting to have meetings anymore. So right now, and you probably have seen this, everybody's available to have meetings. So
Hmm.
They could
Yeah.
just schedule one, and every hour I have one for some reason or another. And because before when we wanted to meet, I had to take into account my commute time to your office. So if I wanted, okay, I have to schedule 15, 20 minutes to be able to get to 32 Knightsbridge. Now it's instantaneous. Poof, we're meeting. So these
Right.
are the things that I'm looking forward to. And I'm assuming everybody who's deep into the COVID stuff also wants that. I don't want to travel. I just want to just stay home and
Hmm.
just do projects that I want to do to myself. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, just be by myself sometimes.
Yeah.
'Cause, everybody has that lazy Saturday.
Yeah.
I have every day to be a lazy Saturday for at least a week.
You deserve it.
That's completely fair. Yeah, you
Yeah.
deserve it for sure.
All right, everyone. I think that wraps up episode 6. I know you got another meeting that you got to head
Yeah.
to, Alex.
Thank you for your time.
So, yeah, thank you for coming on, and hope everyone enjoyed listening, and we will see you again next week.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a safe weekend.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Take care.